I love this. It's such a meme character. It's beautiful.
Know your name. Meatloaf! If someone asks me my name, I will say, Meatloaf!
That's brilliant.
What's your goal? Meatloaf!
So, do you, like, just make obscene amounts of meatloaf?
I guess.
Use that as a weapon?
Yes.
So, what would you do with all the meatloaf that you make? Like, do you feed it to your pets? Do you, use it for a dark ritual? Do you just eat it?
I don't know. I only thought of the name. What's his end goal here? Why Meatloaf?
Maybe he's been contracted by a dark god to feed him stuff. And he's like, I'm gonna do the best job at feeding this dark god and summoning him from the dead that the world has ever seen with the power of meatloaf. He's like, I need to make the best meatloaf. I must try all the types of meat in one pie.
I want him to be a meme.
He is. Just the fact that he's obsessed with meatloaf and is named Meatloaf.
So he has a burlap sack over his head.
Just like 2 eyes drawn on it with Sharpie.
He feels like if he eats enough meatloaf, he'll become like all powerful and unstoppable.
He could just be literally crazy. Just, if I eat enough meatloaf, maybe I'll become Meatloaf.
Meatloaf.
His life goal is to become Meatloaf. Oh, and then it would be ironic if he accidentally, like, he has traps set up in his base that, like, slam someone into a meatloaf oven or something, and he gets caught in that eventually in the end, and becomes what he always wanted to be.
Why do I feel like he would be a dwarf?
Meatloaf!
Meatloaf! Grey dwarf, hill dwarf, or mountain dwarf? What would
you could do a grey dwarf. That would be like from the deep underground or something, and he's like found his way up to the surface somehow. And he's like, oh, the exotic meats up here. Meats.
Makes perfect sense. He thinks he's a level 70 wizard. But should he actually be?
No, level 70 is like, literally, you can do anything you want, whenever you want, and there's no consequences or rolls anymore. You're just unstoppable.
Background.
Meatloaf.
The only M is a mercenary, there's no meatloaf, for shame.
Oh. There's no background of meatloaf. Was a meatloaf in a previous life.
Animal handling wouldn't be much use, would it?
Maybe, if you wanted to be like, oh, come here, little creature. Stab! Meat. Is he smart enough to do that?
I don't know yet.
Okay. I mean, if he's like a little bit mentally unstable, it seems like he would not have the best planning skills or lying.
You're right. Clearly, that's intimidation. I mean, he's wearing a burlap sack.
Yeah, he could be pretty creepy. Meatloaf! Nature, if he knows the right spices to make the meat pie smell good. I don't know.
I was thinking nature. Let's do nature.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna die anyway, so it doesn't really matter. 8. What's with all these single digits? I'm not a fan. So I have 7, 6, 7, 13, 8, 13.
And we can always mess with him a little bit just to give this guy a bit of a fighting chance or something. Reroll one of the 6s, probably. Or 7s, or... What'd you get?
I got a 2.
Oh my gosh.
Should I reroll the reroll?
Yeah. Make it something good.
Over. Get out of here with that!
Not one! Well, he's gonna have a bit of a struggle, but he'll be fine. He's gonna die anyway. I would say he should probably be a little strong, because, like, you probably want him to be wielding, like, a big cleaver or something, right? Meat cleaver.
8 hit points. You got me tilted, fam.
I mean, we're gonna increase that, because obviously he wouldn't be a very imposing boss if that was his actual health.
He used, like, his meatloaf pan. Like, the pan he puts his meat. Oh my god, my initiative is negative
It's okay. We're gonna treat you a little differently because you're a boss, so you're not just gonna be like treated like a regular character. I can be describing how they go through the dungeon and stuff, and then when they finally come across Meatloaf, suddenly you join the call, and they're like, "What? Who just joined the call?" And you can be like, "I am Meatloaf. Fear me." And at the end, you'll still probably die, just to make the players feel good about themselves.
Do they get like a special item or?
You mean for defeating you or whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to have like some sort of magical meat cleaver, or are we going with the idea of like you summoning a dark god? Maybe they could get some sort of summoning scrying orb or something.
Should they be that overpowered?
Ah.
Maybe some kind of special cleaver.
I feel like that's not OP enough. Because like beating a whole dungeon and a whole boss, I feel like they should get some better stuff than just that. That can be one of the things they get, though.
A flaming pie.
A flaming pie that they can summon out of midair, throw at an enemy, and then get it again. Like it vanishes, and then throw it again. Just a flaming pie spell.
Huh.
That actually is hilarious. I really want to have a flaming pie tome that they can learn.
Yes. Pie of meatloaf.
He invents his own spells. The pie of meatloaf.
Now, in regards to like making a dungeon or whatever, we'll go ahead and do it instead. I got no.
What kind of dungeon do you think you'd want? Like a food-themed one? Like you can have a butcher shop that's been kind of turned into a house of horrors or something? With like a big underground complex that goes down several floors.
That sounds cool. I like that. Haunted slaughterhouse.
And then you could have like all sorts of food-related traps. Like if they don't realize that there's a floor tile that's loose or something, they step on it and it drops them into a giant bowl of soup or something.
Nice. I like it.
Or another one, just a pie in the face. Does like 2 damage or something.
That somehow damages them.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like a flaming whipped cream pie.
Flaming pie of death.
It's trying to cook you. Oh, maybe there could be an entire floor that's hooked up just to be like an oven. So as the players are in the room, they have to solve a puzzle to get out as the room's starting to heat up.
I like it, yes. I want to write down these ideas.
Yeah, sure. Ooh, I could use the timer. Like, I could put up the giant hourglass and be like, alright, the room starts to get hotter. You have 15 minutes. And they'd be like, what do we do? And then they need to solve the puzzle within that amount of time, or they get cooked.
This is amazing.
And he can even hide potions in some of his food. What if he serves a restaurant at the top, like the top floor of his building that's above the surface, and that's what he does on the top. Like he's like, oh, hello, and then like if the players come by, he can be like, oh, here's a totally not enchanted meal for you. I hope you enjoy.
And then they notice something doesn't taste quite right.
And then they faint. And they wake up in the dungeon. We could have the waiters and waitresses sometimes pick out people that Meatloaf thinks would be pretty tasty, poison their meals. Would you want this to be like in a big city kind of area so that you can like serve to many guests and like pick out people that you might want to take, people that like people wouldn't notice if they gone missing, that kind of thing? Because like if it was in a small town, people would kind of notice if people go missing in the restaurant, but if it's a large town where nobody cares and nobody knows, then less likely that people would notice a couple people going poof.
Big town, many victim.
Big town, many victim, many meat types. Don't ask what's in it. It's the chef's secret.
Yep.
It's a secret meat.
We have done a thing.
I love this, but I also hate it.
I just said I want the name to be Meatloaf, and all of a sudden
we have a meat-related villain. I like it. Top floor is Meatloaf restaurant. Oh my gosh. It's only Meatloaf, that's all.
Specifically Meatloaf.
What kind of minions do you think you might have? Like, why would people work for you? Just mini Meatloafs that jump around. Just Meatloaf.
No.
Whoa, that's kind of terrifying. Like, creatures made completely out of meat. Just like ground beef monsters that are like as large as a person. That's terrifying. I like that.
Alright, let's add it.
The ground beef boys. My beef boys will give you so many ouchies. They've got some beef with you.
Got some beef. I'm adding that just. I can remember to say that. It's like, if I found like just the right recipe or something, like I become all powerful. Like
so you want to just be delusional?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Very end.
Just if I get enough meatloaf, then I will one day become all powerful. Fine, right, meatloaf, be all powerful. He's just got like a bunch of different spices and stuff, and he's like, too much of that, too little of that, one day I'll get it. My meat minions.
Oh, this is the best and worst thing.
Do you want to design the dungeon at all? Like, I know we were going to have like traps and different, like a oven room puzzle and stuff. Any other ideas for like how the actual dungeon's going to be? Like, what floor would be for what? Like maybe top floor is the restaurant, that's like the actual surface, but then if you go into a secret room, oh no, or like if you go into the kitchens, then you'll find, wait a minute, where's the actual kitchens? It doesn't seem like the food is actually prepared there. There's another layer where there's like a slaughterhouse / kitchen area, and then another layer below that your employees aren't allowed in. There's like meat minions and other stuff, and then even below that there's the oven room and other stuff. Maybe have like 5 floors total or something, with different puzzles and other items strewn throughout until you finally get to the Meatloaf's room, where he's working on perfecting the best recipe the world's ever seen. And it could like have your library and your spice room, where you've got all different types of spices that you might need. I guess it would be a puzzle to make sure that intruders get cooked or killed or something. Maybe the whole room could be themed for like experimenting, like trying out different types of lovely foods, like alphabet soup and other things. I don't know. And perhaps you could have a couple pets that you feed, like a giant or something. You feed your failed experiments to. And then the last layer would be, the Meatloaf himself in his dark place. Spooky Meatloaf Man needed a new kind of meat.
I just thought about the fact, like, there's this restaurant run by a guy who wears a sack over his face. Who would trust that?
No. Nobody sees him, usually.
Oh.
He's usually down in his secret lab experimenting, and he's got a couple people that just kind of carry out his work up above. That's right, gotcha. Those are the faces of the restaurant, but nobody really knows what truly goes on underneath.
Oh.
It's a spook.
Yeah, you can take your time with the story and the campaign. Just don't forget about Meatloaf.
Oh, no, I won't forget about Meatloaf. It's just as far as when the players will discover him. Because the way this campaign works is, instead of having like a linear story pattern, like, oh, you players have to go this, then this, then this, then they'll find this. It's more like, there are a lot of things all throughout the world, wherever, and then the players can choose to go investigate this or that or whatever they find interesting, and they might happen to go that way, or they might go the opposite direction and never find it. And like, okay, well, so much for that. But we can always reuse something if it doesn't get used in one spot. Yeah, but hopefully the players will find him soon, because he seems like a nice little meme lower level boss to fight. That would be kind of fun. We'll see if anyone happens to go explore over there.
Someone's like, I'm hungry. Well, I got the place for you.
Have I got the place for you? Come on down to Meatloaf's Meat Pie. What should the name of the store be? Oh, like the name of the restaurant up top.
Just like Meatloafs.
Meatloafs.
Apostrophe S. Come on down to Meatloafs.
We sell meatloaf, and let me guess, more meatloaf.
Surprise twist, our special meatloaf.
Whoa, our special meatloaf. Only for special guests, wink wink.
Yeah.
AKA the adventurers that are gonna get drugged.
I want art of meatloaf.
I can't wait till people find that. That's funny. Would you like to play Paladins or something, friend? This is completely unrelated, but